Hello and welcome back to another build video. So today we're gonna check out my Titan Demon Bear build. And this build is based around the new unique talisman, which is called Fury of the King. And this talisman is really cool. One, because it gives you this really cool bear look, and or demon bear look. But most importantly, it gives you a new skill. That skill is called Molten Crash. So this skill makes us able to leap into the air and crash down, slamming and creating fissures. And we can also consume rage to grant like additional fissures. And we can have up to 8 fissures at the same time. And the duration is 8 seconds and they branch 2 times. And the way the talisman is set up is that it has majority of its damage as fire. You also can see here that bear skills converts 80% of physical damage to fire. We do have some line here that says that skills which require glory generate 4 glory every 2 seconds. So if you're gonna get this talisman, obviously try to get as much fire damage as possible, as high glory generation as possible, but also as low reduced attack speed as possible. Another cool thing with this talisman is that enemies in your presence, by the way, if you hover over presence in here, you get this green outline of your character, and this is showing you your presence radius. But yeah, it gives you exposure to enemies within your presence. So yeah, this is the talisman the build is based around. I really like this talisman. Been having so much fun with the build so far. And if we go into the skill gems here, as you can see we have Maul here, but that is the basic attack in bear form. We don't actually use this at all, so put whatever skill gems you want to put in here. I'm not actually gonna go over them, I just hover over them quickly. You'll see them in the Mobalytics and Max Roll guide as well. But basically we don't use Maul, that's it. What we do use is Molten Crash, obviously. And in here we slot in Rapid Attacks too, so we are able to attack and jump around faster. We also have Fist of War 3, and this is basically so we get Ancestral Boost have a double effect. We don't care about the 14 seconds here, because with our Ancestral Cry, as I will get into very soon, we have very high uptime, like 90% uptime on Ancestral Boosted attacks. And basically what this Fist of War does is double it. So instead of 30% more damage, it's 60. Instead of 25% increased area of effect, it's 50. So a very good support gem for this. Then we have Close Combat 2, and this gives us 30% more attack damage with to enemies within 1 meter of you. Since we are jumping and slamming on top of enemies all the time, we have this up all the time. We use Elemental Armament 2, and it gives us 25% more elemental damage with attacks. And a little bonus thing that I want to show you when it comes to the Molten Crash is that, as you can see here, you jump around and you get stationary for a little time after you have landed. So using it like this actually feels a little bit clunky. What you can do though is that if you dodge roll or dodge out of the animation, the skill itself becomes a lot more fluid, as you can see here. So basically after you have landed, just do a dodge and you will move around and traverse everything so much smoother basically. Next skill on the list is Walking Calamity, and this was added in this patch. Very cool skill. It requires you to be in bear form, which we are, and this skill requires glory to be used. So we need to get glory, and how do we get that? Well, first of all, the talisman. Second, as you can see here, we need to gain rage while already at maximum rage. So basically when we over rage, or whatever you want to call it, we build glory for this skill. And the way it works is that you trigger meteors, and every 0.15 seconds. A large meteor falls every 15 of the smaller ones. They have an 8 meter radius. You trigger them 50% more frequently for each additional enemy in radius, up to 200%. So let's say a breach, a abyss or whatever with a lot of monsters. the meteors trigger a lot more. The duration here says that it is 10 seconds, but the way we have set it up, it's actually more than that. The buff also grants you 5 rage regenerated per second. You get 30% of damage as fire damage. Actually, it's 40 if you quality the socket or quality the skill. And the meteors is converted everything to fire damage. Since we don't do any physical damage anyway, it doesn't really affect us, but yeah. So the way it works is that you see a yellow outline on the skill here. That indicates how much glory we have. If the outline is full, we have maximum amount of glory we need to actually use the skill. And whenever we use it, it looks really cool, and you see all the meteors starts to fall down. And it's 21 seconds uptime on this one. So pretty good uptime for both the meteors, which is going to be extra damage, but also the actual buff itself that gives us extra damage and rage regen. So whenever this goes out, you see down here that the bar around the skill starts to fill up, and this is the passive glory generation that we get from Fury of the King. So whenever we overrage, we obviously fill this bar up faster and will be able to use the skill more often. And for the support gems in here, we went with Prolonged Duration 2, so that is causing the duration to be almost 21 seconds. We have Ignite 3 here, and this is pretty important because not only does the Ignite deal damage faster, don't really care that much about that, but we get 200% more flammability magnitude. And the more flammability magnitude you have, the faster you will cause an Ignite, basically. And why do we want to ignite? Well, we have Ancestral Cry slotted here. And the way you generate glory to use Ancestral Cry is by igniting enemies. So Walking Calamity helps with the uptime of Ancestral Cry quite a lot. Then we have Hourglass here, and this is 30% more damage. We do get a 10-second cooldown on the skill though, but since the skill has a duration of over 20 seconds, this 10-second cooldown don't affect us at all, so pretty much a 30% more damage here. We have Elemental Armament 2 for another 25% more elemental damage. We also use Fire Attunement, and this is because we don't scale any cold or any lightning, so it's a 25% of damage as extra fire. And Ferocious Roar is the next skill here, and this is a new Warcry skill. You need to be in bear form to use this, which we are all the time. And the way this works is that you empower attacks per enemy power, and the empowered attacks can break armor, but you also gain 2 rage per enemy power in range. So whenever we use this, we gain rage, we empower attacks, and you can also socket in like human form Ancestral Cries in here, which we have done. So we have socketed in Ancestral Cry. So we trigger Ancestral Cry here instead of the Ferocious Roar effects. So these effects are actually not applying to us. We only get the effects from the Warcry that we have socketed in. And this Warcry gives us 84% increased damage and 50% increased AoE. And we also get them the attacks ancestrally boosted. So the way this works is that we generate glory by igniting enemies, requires 100 glory to use, and we knock back enemies, interrupt enemies in a small area. We can also consume endurance charges to increase the Warcry duration. And we do have a very high uptime on 3 endurance charges, pretty much all the time. So if we consume them, we have even longer duration of Ancestral Cry. And the thing Ancestral Cry does is that all of our slam skills gets ancestrally boosted. And since we have Fist of War 3 in here on the Molten Crash, we get double effect on the ancestrally boosted. So another thing that Ancestral Cry does is that it causes volcanic steps. And these steps basically functions the way slam do. So whenever we create fissures with our Molten Crash, we can walk on top of them to erupt all the fissures. And we also get volcanic eruptions, so we fire projectiles from the enemy that we hit, which will land nearby and dealing attack area damage. This isn't really that impactful, but volcanic steps is actually really good. Not only to erupt the fissures, but the damage of them is actually enough to like one-shot regular white mobs by just walking on them. It's pretty cool. For the support gems here, we use Raging Cry, so we do get 4 rage per 5 power of counted enemies in range. We use Magnified Area 2, so we increase the area of the Warcry, which is helping us gain more rage by hitting more enemies. We also have Prolonged Duration 2, so the Ancestral Cry buff is up for longer time. We also have Cooldown Recovery 2 here. It's not really helping us that much, to be honest. Since we still need glory to actually use the skill. But yeah, whatever you feel like you want to put in there, just go for it. Doesn't really matter that much. So the next skill here is Charge Regulation. And this is a spirit gem that costs 30 spirit. And it gives us 19% more defenses while we have an endurance charge, which we do pretty much all the time. So it's a very good defensive spirit gem. We also have Herald of Ash, and this is, as many of you know, another spirit gem. And whenever we overkill an enemy, we cause an explosion, and that explosion will ignite enemies nearby. And the ignite, once again, helps us get uptime with the glory for Ancestral Cry. And it also helps a little bit with AoE. Not that we actually need the AoE, but it's a nice spirit gem. For this one, we have Magnified Area 2 to increase the area of the explosions, and we also have Fire Mastery to give it another level. And sorry, for Charge Regulation, we use Cannibalism 2. And the reason for this is that, as you can see, we don't have any mana. We are using Blood Magic, so all our mana cost is converted to life cost. So whenever we actually use a skill, you can see that our life depletes every time. So the way we counter that is to use Cannibalism. So whenever we leap onto a pack of monsters, every monster we kill is gonna make us recover life. So very good life sustain. And then for the last skill gem we have Berserk. Another 30% or 30 spirit cost here. We don't use this often. It's basically only on like pinnacle bosses and stuff like that. And what this does is that whenever we gain rage, we also lose 0.1% of our max life. And we also get 66% increased effect of rage. So this is a really good damage boost, but only used on bosses. So basically Charge Regulation and Herald of Ash, pretty much up all the time. If you fight a pinnacle boss or a really tanky map boss, just deactivate Herald of Ash and activate Berserk. So yeah, that is it for the support gems. So let's get into the gear. As I mentioned earlier, we are using Fury of the King Unique Talisman. This is the bread and butter of the whole build. And I mentioned this earlier as well, but what you want to look out for on this one is obviously as high fire damage as you can get. You want at least a level 19 Molten Crash, as little reduced attack speed as possible, and you want as high glory generation every 2 seconds as you can get. And for the helmet, we use a Constricting Command. And this is a very good helmet, because you can make use of a lot of good passive nodes in the passive tree that I will get into when we check that out. And for this one, you want to require 4 fewer enemies to be surrounded. Because surrounded as a base requires you to have 5 enemies around you to count as surrounded. But when you require 4 fewer, that means you only need 1 enemy to be surrounded. So it's going to be 100% uptime on all of the passive nodes that we are going to get into. So this is the most important thing to look out for if you buy a Constricting Command. The rest of the stats, don't really have to care that much about them, to be honest. And for the body armor, we use a brass dome. And this body armor can roll very high armor. As you can see here, we have over 4,000 armor on this. And you also take no extra damage from critical hits, so pretty good defensive-wise. You get a decent amount of stun threshold, The downside of this unique though is that you get either -1 or -5 to all elemental resistances. I have -4 here, as you can see. The best would be to get a -1, but they can get more towards the expensive side. So if you can get a 4, that is like totally fine. I would say it's more important to get high armor than having low elemental res here. And for the gloves, we are actually using an evasion rating base here. I will get into why it doesn't matter when we go to the passive tree. But obviously if you can find an armor base with similar stats, that would be better. So you want to look out for flat fire damage, max life, resistances, increased attack speed, but most importantly you want level to all melee skills, because Molten Crash is considered a melee skill. This one, unfortunately, someone corrupted before they put a socket in there, and I didn't notice that before I actually bought it. So, bad decision from me, but it is what it is. For the boots, you want to have high armor, max life, and resistances. The movement speed on the boots don't actually matter that much, since we are leap slamming and dodge rolling all the time, everywhere. It's not that often that we are like regular walking or running. So you don't actually need movement speed on the boots, but there will be some cases, at least on bigger maps, that you are gonna have to run or walk. So having at least some movement speed feels pretty good, but not mandatory. For the belt, you want to look out for more increased armor, max life, resistances. Stun threshold is pretty good as well. And for the rings, you want to look out for flat fire damage, elemental resistances, squeeze in some rarity on pretty much all the gear that you can. Rarity is really good, so try to do that. Same thing here, we have flat fire damage, we have max life, and elemental resistances. And for the amulet, you want to have +3 to melee skills, resistances, global defenses are good if you don't find anything with like flat armor or something like that. Max life, very good, and once again, rarity. So that's basically it for the gear, and I want to mention also that the life flask is kinda important in this build because you want to have high recovery and over a small amount of time. Since we are using blood magic, as you can see we don't have any mana. Every time we use a skill, it drains our life. And the way we set up charge regulation with cannibalism, we do recover the life whenever we hit an enemy. But let's say we want to use this skill while traversing the map. You want to be able to pop a flask to get your life back fast, so whenever you are traversing you don't get hit and accidentally die from that. Mana flask, you don't have to bother with that because we don't have any mana anyway, so doesn't matter. For the charms, personally I went with a freeze and stun charm. You can go with whatever you want to here. None of those two are mandatory for the build. So let's take a look at the passive tree. We are Titan, and there are a few reasons for that. You can play this on a shaman if you want to. You're gonna have to build it a little bit differently, but it's 100% doable on a shaman as well. But the reason that we went with Titan is mostly because of hulking form. So we get 50% increased effect of small passives, and why do we want that? Well, it's very good, especially for surrounded nodes. That is the one we are using with the constricting command helmet that I will get into pretty soon here. We also get stone skin. It's 50% more armor from equipped body armor. Since we have such a high armor on the body armor already, it's getting boosted even more here. And for the last one, I went with crushing impacts, so you get 25% more damage against heavy stunned enemies. And your hits is crushing blows, so whenever a enemy is primed for stun, the crushing blow will actually cause like the heavy stun with it. These two points, I would say that you can move around. They are not mandatory for the build, so if you want more life, you can go Mysterious Lineage. You can also go Earthbreaker, So you have 25% chance for a slam skill to cause an aftershock, which is basically double damage. But the 25% chance is kinda low. And since we have pretty high stun buildup and actually managed to stun bosses fairly fast, I think that this crushing impact is pretty good for that, so we get a decent amount of more damage when we do that. Yeah, other than the Ascendancy, we go for some armor. This one's sturdy metal is pretty nice, increased 80% from equipped body armor. We go here for some more armor, a little bit of life regen. We go up here, increased skill speed. Since the Molten Crash, the leap, scales with attack speed and skill speed, it feels very good to increase that, not just because you will leap slam faster and it will be more efficient, but also because that Fury of the King has reduced attack speed. So you kind of want to counter that a little bit. And we go up here for some increased skill effect duration. This helps with Walking Calamity and Ancestral Cry. We go up here for some penetration. We also get quite a lot of skill speed up here, so pretty good nodes. We go down here for some increased attack area damage. Here is also 20% increased stun buildup. We go up here for elemental damage and 30% damage with hits against ignited enemies. Because we are igniting a lot, this is basically a 30% increased damage all the time. We go up here for rage on melee hit and increased maximum rage. Here is another small one, gain rage on melee hit. And I will get into why we want that pretty soon. Then we have some armor applies to elemental damage. Pretty good defensive nodes here. We obviously grab blood magic, so we don't have any mana. We spend our life instead. Go for the jewel socket. We go up here for melee damage with hits at close range. Those two pretty good, 22% each, and here is a 40%. We go up here to get some AoE, so basically 8% increased area of effect and 15% if we have killed recently. Then we go down all the way here. We grab one rage on melee hit here. We path to the left for some increased attack damage and fire damage. Here we also get a rage when we hit ignites, or when we hit when our hits ignite a target. We also get 1% increased fire damage for every rage that we have. And here is another one, gain rage when we hit ignited targets. We go all the way down here for some more maximum rage. We also go here, so we get every rage grants us 2% increased stun threshold. We go down here for some even more armor applies to elemental damage. And now for the juicy stuff, the reason why we use Constricting Command. So we go for the surrounded nodes here, and they give us increased armor while surrounded, quite a lot. We get increased attack damage while surrounded. We get increased attack damage here, it's actually 100%, and these smaller nodes are 37%. Reason for that is because we use Hulking Form, otherwise they would have been 25%, I think. So we get all of those. We path over here to the jewel socket, and then here for some even more surrounded nodes. So we get a lot of armor here, even more attack damage. We get attack speed. And here we increase the surrounded area of effect. And the reason for this is because that we do have, like after we slam down, we do have fissures and stuff like that that spread out. And if we have bigger surrounded area of effect, that means that those fissures will actually, like the damage to them, will get applied. Even more armor, we get life regen when we are surrounded for some life sustain. And then we go down here for some increased attack area damage and even more increased attack area damage. We get armor break duration. Doesn't really help us because we don't build into breaking armor. But they are pretty good nodes anyway. We go here for some increased AoE. We go down here and we grab Iron Reflexes. And this converts all our evasion rating to armor. So basically, Constricting Command is an evasion rating base. This gets converted to armor. And the gloves here, also evasion rating base, gets converted to armor. So let's say you're looking for a pair of gloves similar to what I have here, and you don't find them as an armor base, then evasion bases are totally fine because of iron reflexes. Basically same thing with boots as well. And then we go for the last 2 points here, even more attack damage while surrounded. So that's it for the passive tree, and for the jewels, here is the one and only like regular jewel that we have. And for this you want fire damage, elemental damage, damage while shapeshifted, skill speed while shapeshifted. This one has life regen as well, but that is not the most important stats here. Look for the other ones mainly. Down here we have Against the Darkness, and this one gives us 4% of damage as extra fire for every notable passive in the radius. We also get 2% increased strength, which is helping us with attribute requirements, but also giving us more life. Reason why we place it here is because we have so many notables that we take anyway in here, and all of them gives us 4% of damage as extra fire and 2% increased strength. And for the last jewel we have Heart of the Well, and here you want to look out for gain damage as extra fire, increased skill speed and increased attack speed. Whatever combination of that you can get is going to be very good. So that's basically it for the passive tree and the build, and if you have any questions, please let me know down below in the comments. I am reading and answering every comment, and I also want to thank all of you for all the support on my previous videos. It's so fun to see all of you interacting, commenting, liking, viewing, all of that. Much appreciated. So if you do enjoy the content and haven't already, make sure to subscribe, because I'm gonna be posting content consistently. And yeah, I also stream on Twitch every day, so if you want to come out and hang out with me and the other viewers, then you find me on my Twitch channel. And this is gonna be it for the build guide. Thanks a lot for watching, take care, have a good one.
I need more time. Reclaim. Come here. Feel my wrath.
Good timing. Spirit, it moves. Let's get stronger. Aye, you don't stand. Again!